Hi, I'm Edgar.
And I'm Heather.
Welcome to another episode of Does a Decade Matter?
Where generations X and Y intersect to discuss, argue, and even sometimes agree on movies. Really?
Yep.
Alrighty then.
Oh, so good. Anyway.
So we're flashing back to 1990.
Oh, God, 1990.
From what I remember, it's a decent year.
Yeah, I don't think I was diabetic yet, so...
So it was a decent year for you.
It was pretty much the last decent year for me. I was a normal 5-year-old.
Yes. Yes, you were.
Anyway, so you picked a movie.
I did.
For some goddamn reason.
You said no to Showgirls.
I said I wasn't feeling Showgirls.
No, your first response was no.
Anyway.
So I found something else.
You found Flatliners.
Yes. Which they say is a Brat Pack movie, but...
There was no one from the Brat Pack in here.
Yeah, that's why I was really confused.
There... I don't...
Like, Keifer Sutherland, maybe?
He was, like, Brat Pack adjacent.
Well, so, yeah, and so is Kevin Bacon, so I'm not...
Mm-hmm.
And Julia Roberts never was.
Right.
So...
Maybe they tried casting the Brat Pack and it just didn't work.
I can see
Or
that.
they all said, no.
Well, let's see here. Keifer Sutherland basically played, except for not being a vampire, but basically played the same character as Lost Boys.
Which, why have we not done that one yet?
'Cause?
Okay. Yeah, this was another Joel Schumacher movie.
Which is also Lost Boys?
Also Lost Boys. And
Okay.
also, like, St. Elmo's Fire.
Ah.
But also...
That was a Brat Pack movie.
But also... Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Ugh.
Right?
Ugh.
I want to say he was also involved in Lost Boys 2.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
We saw Lost Boys 2.
We have seen Lost Boys 2, yes.
Oof. So, what would you like to start talking about?
Well, Kevin Bacon's hair was beautiful. And flowy.
Well, it was 10 minutes away from being a mullet.
But yet not a mullet.
No, because it was party all the time.
Yes. There was no business in the front.
Oh, there was no business. Just like this.
Farrah Fawcett hair?
Are we still recording?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay. So it was just a little hiccup.
Damn cats.
Anyway, where were we?
Talking about the beautifully flowing hair of...
Yeah. Of Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
TV's Kevin Bacon.
I did like him in The Following.
Okay.
Apparently he's in a new show.
Okay.
And... Let me pull that up. Because I don't even know, like, what channel it's on.
Okay. So we're going to talk about Kevin Bacon.
For a second here.
Alright. We could talk about all of the TV shows that they're all on. Because, like, I would like to say that Oliver Platt was...
I love Dick.
Oh, okay. Oliver Platt was really,
He's from one of my Chicago shows.
underexploited on the promotional material.
Same with Billy Baldwin.
I'm not a huge fan of Billy Baldwin.
Oh no, me either. However...
But yeah, it's like there were 5 core characters here, and you put 3 of them on the posters.
Yes.
Which means we can drink for 2 of them.
Right, we can drink for Billy, we can drink for Oliver.
Yep.
But actually, if you look closer, we can't.
They're not prominently displayed.
They're not prominently displayed. As in, these are characters in the movie, it's just a scene from the movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they got the same screen time as the others, I believe.
I think Oliver Platt got the least, but
he had a solo scene. He had one solo scene, whereas Billy had a couple of solo scenes.
Yeah, but he wasn't experiencing any of the effects of the flatlining the brain
damage.
effects. Yeah, the brain damage. Let's cut the bullshit. It was the brain damage. Because he was smart enough to not go under.
Right. And in the end, spoilers, Keifer's character goes on for 12 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 15 or something.
Yeah, no, vegetable.
Yeah. Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you've deprived your brain of oxygen for a quarter of an hour. There's no walking back from that.
Yeah, no. Do you know what okay, so I think this is... I don't know what genre this qualifies.
It says drama horror.
Okay. And the only horror I see about this movie is the fact that they remade it.
It hasn't come out yet, has it?
No.
Okay, well, I think...
But it's coming out this year.
I think the horror aspects are more of the psychological horror stuff.
Which I appreciate.
Where you watch the screen turn red, and it's like, okay, there's going to be a ghost encounter.
Right.
Or everything goes blue, and like, oh, nothing good is about to happen.
Right. Or red in Rachel's case.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who's in the new Flatliners?
No one we've heard of, and no one we've heard of. Plus Oliver Platt.
Ellen Page.
What? She's in it?
Yeah. Keifer's in it as Nelson.
What?
Yep.
Keifer Sutherland is reprising his role as Nelson.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nina Dobrev? That person?
Dobrev.
That's what I said.
Sure.
From Vampire Diaries.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, this makes me sad.
Well, they've got two women.
True.
So, instead of just Julia Roberts and 4 dudes.
There are definitely a lot more women.
I mean, like, that's good, but did this need to be remade?
No! No.
Like,
No.
I'm not entirely convinced it needed to be made. I don't know.
Well, didn't I read in the trivia that it was like there was Ghost and a couple other after death movies that exact same year.
Yeah, it seemed to be the thing that happened in the 90s, in 1990.
Yeah. So, no, but then again, I have a thing about remaking movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, speaking of Kevin Bacon, the remade Footloose, which I have not seen.
You've not seen Footloose?
I have not seen the remade Footloose.
Oh.
I have, of course, seen Footloose.
Okay, I'm sorry, never mind.
Thought about watching that tonight, but you hate that movie. So,
it's been a long time since I've seen it. There are a lot of things that I hated a long time ago. I'm like, maybe I'll give it another shot.
Well, you're going to have to give Footloose another shot because we're going to watch it for the show.
I understand that.
But I don't understand remaking movies from however many years. That being said, I understand Ocean's 11 is in fact a remake.
You know, they're rebooting that one too.
With girls.
Mm-hmm. I believe women is the right word to use.
Ocean's 9 or some shit.
8.
Because they couldn't find 11 women.
Hollywood wasn't going to pay for it. Even though they'd be
They pay them less, so you could, so technically you could have more women.
Right, but you slash...
You could start with Ocean's 15, it would cost the same.
No, you just slash the budget in half.
Oh.
And it's like, okay, we can afford 8 women.
Julia Roberts was in an Ocean's movie.
2 of them, wasn't she?
Yes. 11 and 12.
Anyway, the less said about that, the better, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the setup wasn't bad.
I think it needed a little more.
Yeah, it needed more convincing.
Well, we just went, 0 to 60 into the killing each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty quick.
it would have been nice to have a little bit more setup with Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, so we're gonna get together and do this tonight, right? Right, we're all gonna get together and do this tonight, is the entire setup.
Yeah. No, I get it. And, like, one of the things that bothered me a little bit was after they've all, like, flatlined and come back and they have to, like, set things right.
Deal with their shit.
Yeah, they gotta deal with their shit. And, like, Billy Baldwin is... Well, my shit's dealt with because my fiance found my tapes of all those girls I was secretly having sex with and recording.
Yeah, but
like,
that's not where the sin was.
Like, that was his sin. Because that's the thing that he was reliving. That was his guilt and his shame. It's like, okay, you're not absolved. Because there's also probably criminal charges to be filed.
Well... Then that leads me to believe his only guilt is the fact that he cheated on his fiancée, and not the fact that he actually videotaped them without knowing and, lied to them to get them into bed. Because the thing that absolved him was her finding out. Not actually apologizing to any of the women that he actually wronged. He
made no effort to make amends to any of the people he hurt.
No.
None whatsoever.
No. He just walked in on her finding his tapes, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And done.
And, like, Kevin Bacon's like, oh, hey, I'm sorry I was mean to you when we were kids. And, like... And I think they got that right, because, like, she had to, like, relive a little bit of that.
Yep.
And you saw her, like, going back through that, like...
Right.
I don't want to have to relive this.
And I like...
But, like, it was a long time ago. Thank you for making the effort. Now get out of my house.
But I also like her... First she tried to brush him off.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when she realized that he wasn't going to let it go, she had her daughter leave the room.
Yeah.
And...
Like, go do this thing. Like, well, yeah, just go do it.
And the daughter obviously felt the uncomfortable vibes.
Yeah.
And went and got Dad. Mm-hmm. Which I really liked that whole exchange. It wasn't just a, please let me apologize, I'm done, okay, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
There was some effort and, processes that had to happen.
Yeah, he made a good faith effort to make amends for his sins.
And I think they did that scene.
That scene they did right.
Yeah.
But, like, the Julia Roberts one, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna, like, walk into the bathroom where my dad is right before he, like... I'm reliving the moments right before my dad ran out to his car and shot himself in the head. But, like, oh, he's a junkie. Where the fuck did that come from?
Well, I think... in her initial memory that we see, she walks into the bathroom but doesn't make it as far as her dad.
Yeah.
And then when he sees her, he freaks out and, And then you see her mother grabbing her and saying, "What did you do?"
Right.
So that gives you the guilt that she's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we're supposed to believe is that she might have seen it the first time around, but didn't understand what was going on.
Right.
And so this time, she understands that what happened is she caught her dad being a junkie, and he couldn't live with her seeing him that way. And that pushed him to the final decision. And it wasn't actually her fault.
Right.
And it was a weird way to get through that whole process with him.
Yeah, but, like, the junkie part seemed unnecessary. Like, it would have made more sense, to me anyway, that she, like, finds him, like, holding the gun. 'Cause he just got back from, presumably, Vietnam.
Right.
He's clearly experiencing some shit. And, like, okay, maybe he was thinking about killing himself right before he did. But she walked in on that, so he needed to escape the room so there wouldn't be her witnessing it.
Right. They could have done it either way.
Right. Like, the heroin thing just seemed a little... I don't know. That probably meant something different in the 90s than it does
when
right
Vietnam
now.
was a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely could have seen it either way, but I think the story is bigger with her realizing what she found and why her father did it, and it's not actually her fault.
Right. Well, it wasn't her fault anyway.
Right, but the words that came out of her mother's mouth, as far as we could tell, was, "What did you do?" And I'm assuming to a 5-year-old that's pretty impactful.
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
So that's serious trauma.
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon had guilt about serious trauma, and even Keifer's character had guilt about serious trauma.
I think he... Like, by the time this movie started, he didn't feel guilty about that anymore. He's like, no, I paid my price. I did what I had to.
But it's stemming from from an actual trauma.
Uh-huh.
Whereas Billy's character's just a douchebag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and what I thought what would have been a better ending for me would be if, like, we see Keifer Sutherland in the like under the tree or in the field or whatever,
Right.
and the kid in the hoodie like takes the hood down, looks at him, kind of gives him that, okay, I forgive you, and then just fade to white. Just let Keifer Sutherland die, kind of believing that he's been absolved.
Well, one of the things...
But then they fucking had to bring him back, because...
Right.
Yeah. Because you can't have a remake without that somehow.
There's a moment when Billy...
The kid?
The kid.
Okay.
Starts walking off with the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he waved for Keifer to come with.
You should have.
And then all of a sudden we started hearing the voices.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another moment where the movie could have very much gone either way.
Right, yeah.
And I think you're right. If they had decided that he was to die, that we shouldn't have seen the rest of the cast again.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been the period on the end of the sentence.
Because, well, they get, like, before that, you get the panic, like, he's dead. Like,
right.
I'm gonna go call the police.
Right.
We're fucked.
Yeah. And so that would have been, I think, just as satisfactory, probably, if not more of a satisfactory end to the movie than what we actually got.
Yeah.
It passes the Bechdel.
What was the other woman's name?
Julia Roberts said her name repeatedly.
Okay.
And she specifically asked for that lady when she ran down to the hospital and found out she died.
Alright.
So.
Passes the Bechdel.
Passes the Bechdel.
Because they talk about death stuff.
I don't think it passes diversity.
Nah, Winnie's black. And it was pretty clear that
the teacher...
the teacher was Asian. I don't know if she had a name. But, like, Kevin Bacon's character as a child went to a very integrated school.
Yeah.
And we saw that scene.
Right.
There weren't a lot of interactions, but it was kind of this sweep through the playground and watch things happen.
So, I think it inches into the diversity.
It's not great.
No.
Alright.
No, and there was only one named not white character. She just happened to be played by two different actresses. One that was a child and one that was an adult. Mm-hmm. Well, and the husband's name was Ben.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure that we can, like, definitively say, yep, this is diverse because we're two white people.
Right. But it's not like some of the other movies we've watched where it's like, oh yeah.
It's like, there were no white people. Or, like, last week with the Mummy, it's like, yeah, this person is,
Right.
This person is a British Iranian, and...
Right. I still don't understand the setting of where they did all this mumbo-jumbo.
It was in Chicago?
Right, but, like, the room.
Oh. Yeah,
and the fact that the ceiling leaked enough to pour into the overloaded...
Yeah.
breaker system, which was on the first floor of this museum-y thing.
It looks good on film.
Yeah. Oh.
Be a lot of problems before any of that. But like, yeah, it looks good on film. What?
Some of the continuity stuff kind of got to me.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
Masks not actually being hooked up to anything.
Having worked in a medical field.
Yeah. Even if you didn't, the mask wasn't hooked up to anything.
Well, and there was, like, near the end, like, you can see the spring inside the syringe.
And the CPR was bad.
Oh, yeah.
But I understand for almost all on-screen CPRs, they do the child CPR, which is the 5 and then the breath. Mm-hmm. But they've revamped... I mean, this was done in the 90s. I don't expect them to update the movie with the newest, latest CPR trends.
Right.
But with CPR now, they don't even ask you to breathe for them, because getting the blood flow and the pumping of the chest is enough to exchange at least a minimum amount of oxygen. Mm-hmm. And getting the heart beating is actually the important part.
Right.
And if you're starting to get up a rhythm and then you stop to breathe, mm-hmm. then you have to regain the rhythm. This PSA is brought to you by me.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Yeah. And the lighted, the lit, mm-hmm. cooling heating blanket was just fucking ridiculous.
That was just to clue the audience in on what kind of blanket it was at a given time.
I understand that, but it broke my brain.
No, I get that too. Maybe in the reboot or the sequel, I don't exactly know what it is. Like maybe that'll get addressed, to your specifications.
Oh, that would require me to watch it.
Oh, honey.
Thank you for listening to this episode of DADM.
Our theme music was provided by bensound.com.
You can download us from SoundCloud, iTunes, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Follow us on Twitter at DADMpod, like us on Facebook, or email us at dadmpod@gmail.com.
We'll see you next week.